What if the most chilling realization a person can have is that the person doing the least in the room actually holds the most power? This isn't about hustle culture. This is about psychological warfare fought in absolute stillness. We are taught that power is loud, demanding, and requires visible effort. But history's greatest strategists, particularly Machiavelli, understood a terrifying secret. True strength resides not in what is said or done, but in what is held back. Weak men fear this strong silence because it represents a total loss of leverage, an unreadable mind, and an energy that is not spent in their service. We are about to dismantle everything you believe about visibility, effort, and ultimate success. The most dangerous person in any domain isn't the workaholic, the overachiever, or even the genius who publishes daily metrics. It is the person you instinctively dismiss as lazy. You know the type. Massive internal landscapes, revolutionary ideas, but a profound reluctance to participate in the exhausting performance of busyness that society mistakes for meaning. Society calls him lazy, a dreamer without discipline. Carl Jung called him something else entirely, and by the end of this journey, you will understand why this man, who moves like a ghost and speaks only when necessary, terrifies everyone around him, including the systems that profit from your endless toil. Or perhaps, and this is the realization that will change your life, you are that silent, ambitious force. Before we peel back these layers of power and perception, I am profoundly curious. Where are you right now, experiencing this paradigm shift? Share the city you are watching from, because understanding the context of our audience grounds this collective awakening. To grasp this fear, let me show you exactly what it looks like in the mundane. You walk into an office or a popular cafe and see two people. At the polished mahogany table, there is Clara. Her laptop is open, she has 3 monitors running, a color-coded planner, and she is typing furiously, taking calls, orchestrating visible productivity. She is the classic overachiever, the definition of success in our noisy age. At a quiet booth in the back, there is Michael. He is scrolling slowly on his phone, maybe staring out the window, looking half asleep, and his notebook hasn't been touched in an hour. He projects the profound stillness of someone utterly unburdened by time constraints. Who would you bet on to destabilize the market, redefine the industry, or truly change the rules of the game? Most people instinctively point to Clara. Hold that thought, because what I am about to tell you will flip your thinking about the relationship between effort and influence. Michael has an idea gestating in his quiet mind that could revolutionize an entire supply chain. Clara is optimizing her email response speed and updating her productivity spreadsheet. Michael sees elegant solutions to foundational problems that Clara doesn't even know exist, because she is too busy solving the immediate, low-stakes crisis. Clara is diligently optimizing her morning routine. Michael is optimizing his relationship with reality. So why does everyone, including highly educated people, think Clara will succeed and Michael will fail? Here is the raw, uncomfortable truth. You judge Michael's apparent dormancy because his method threatens everything you believe about how the world works. His stillness is a betrayal of the universal pressure to perform. Carl Jung spent his entire life studying the hidden mechanisms of the human psyche, and what he discovered confirms this fear. Society doesn't truly fear lazy people. We can pity them and ignore them. We fear the lazy, ambitious man because his silent success proves that everything we've been taught about the necessary equation of success, sacrifice equals reward, is fundamentally wrong. But here is what Jung knew that Machiavelli applied, and what nobody talks about. The lazy, ambitious man isn't actually lazy. He is operating from a completely different level of consciousness, a plane of deep processing and deliberate energy conservation. While everyone else is running in frantic circles, generating noise and heat, he is playing a different game entirely. The long game of strategic stillness. And that game, the game of strong silence, is what fundamentally changes perception and power dynamics. To understand why this is such a potent strategy, we need to dig into the one thing that makes weak men most uncomfortable: the absence of reaction. Jung wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." But what happens when one person, the silent one, refuses to react the way you expect? What happens when you throw anxiety, demands, or noise at him, and all you get back is a powerful, unreadable void? This is the core of his power. The lazy, ambitious man is a walking contradiction that short-circuits the conventional mind. He harbors dreams bigger than anyone you know, visions that span decades, yet he might not leave his couch until after the traditional workday is ended. He possesses insights that could pivot entire industries, yet he won't even change out of his house clothes. He sees opportunities everywhere, but appears to pursue none of them in the conventional, visible sense. And this terrifies the establishment, because if true ambition doesn't require constant visible action, if brilliance doesn't demand the 5 a.m. wake-up call and the exhaustive daily performance of being busy, then what does that say about the exhausting, self-flagellating race you have been running your entire life? It suggests that your effort was wasted, that your performance was merely compliance. Jung discovered something that explains why this person makes us so profoundly uncomfortable, and it has nothing to do with genuine laziness, and everything to do with our psychological defenses. Remember that unsettling, often irritated feeling you get around the lazy, ambitious man? The feeling that he is somehow cheating the system? Jung had a name for the psychological mechanism that creates this discomfort: the shadow. And once you understand the shadow, you will never see productivity culture the same way again. Quick question for profound introspection. When was the last time you did something solely because you wanted to? Not because you had to. Not because it would look good on social media. Not because it fit into the strategic goals of your quarterly plan. Just because the sheer necessity of your soul demanded it. If you cannot remember, that reveals the depth of the problem. Jung discovered that our cultural obsession with productivity is not truly about maximizing output. It is fundamentally about minimizing shame. It is about proving we are not worthless. We are terrified of the parts of ourselves we are forced to repress. And in our hyper-capitalist culture, the biggest shadow is the fear of being seen as lazy, inadequate, or unproductive. Machiavelli understood that people are easily governed by their immediate fears, and this societal fear of worthlessness is leveraged into an economic system that demands constant motion. But here is the truth that Jung exposed long ago. We perform productivity. We optimize our lives. We hustle, we grind, and critically we post about it online. We do this not necessarily because it works, but because we are existentially terrified of what happens if we stop. Think about your last attempt at a true vacation. Did you relax completely? Or did you feel a pervasive sense of guilt, an anxious twitch that you should be doing something measurable and productive? The lazy, ambitious man does not feel that guilt, and that is what makes him a disruptive and dangerous force. He is not performing productively for the benefit of observers. He is not proving his worth through constant motion. He is not even pretending to be busy. And yet, and this is the part that breaks the weak man's brains, he still possesses the superior, more disruptive ideas than everyone running around like their hair is on fire. Jung famously wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." What precisely irritates you about the lazy, ambitious man? Is it that he's not playing by the rules of exhaustion you've been forced to follow? Is it that he's not sacrificing his present life for a hypothetical future reward? Is it that he's not treating his profound existence like a problem to be solved through better time management systems? The irritation is a mirror reflecting the tyranny of your own self-imposed structure. But what if he's not the problem at all? What if the intense processing that makes him appear dormant is actually the necessary condition for visionary creativity? Let me show you something first, because Jung made a crucial discovery about the human mind that explains why this silent, patient man generates such incredible ideas despite appearing to do nothing. Here is the secret. The productivity gurus and the systems built on measurable time inputs do not want you to know. Your unconscious mind is infinitely more creative, more expansive, and more capable of synthesizing complex solutions than your conscious, effortful thinking. Everything you have been taught about how revolutionary ideas work is backwards. Jung wrote, "The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity." The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. Read that quote again and absorb its revolutionary meaning. The creative mind plays. It does not grind. It does not hustle. It does not set SMRT goals. It plays. We have endless historical proof. Einstein got the pivotal insight for his theory of relativity during a seemingly idle daydream. Nikola Tesla envisioned his inventions, circuits running perfectly, during solitary evening walks, his mind divorced from the physical apparatus. Jung's biggest breakthroughs, the core concepts that redefined modern psychology, came during long periods of what his academic contemporaries dismissed as lazy, self-indulgent solitude. So, what is really happening in the lazy, ambitious man's mind? While the external world thinks he's wasting time, he is not scrolling mindlessly. He is not simply being unproductive. He is engaging in a process most people never access. He is letting his unconscious mind process information, synthesize divergent data points, and establish connections at levels you cannot even imagine, while you are forcing yourself through another restrictive productivity framework. He's allowing his mind to make the connections between ideas you don't even see existing in the same universe. This is why his breakthrough ideas seem to come from nowhere. But in reality, they are not spontaneous. They are emerging from a deep well of unconscious strategic processing that has been quietly running while everyone assumes he is doing nothing. Remember Michael from the coffee shop? While Clara was optimizing her LinkedIn profile for better visibility, Michael's brain was solving complex transportation problems. Jung called this active imagination, the deliberate method of stepping back the conscious mind and granting the unconscious permission to present its insights and strategies. And here is the really radical part, the part that makes the silent man uncontrollable. This process cannot be forced, it cannot be scheduled, it cannot be optimized for a 90-day sprint. It happens on its own, unique timeline. And that is precisely why society, and the weak men who seek to control it, fear the lazy, ambitious man, because he has tapped into a resource that cannot be controlled, cannot be managed, and cannot be commodified into a standardized productivity system. Jung believed that the most terrifying thing an individual can do is to accept oneself completely. The lazy, ambitious man has accepted a profound truth most people never will, that his mind works differently, that his rhythm is unique, and that true power lies in authentic stillness. That acceptance grants him access to visionary power that all the life hacks and efficiency systems in the world cannot provide. But it also makes him a monumental threat to something much bigger than individual productivity. Now we arrive at the true reason society, and the weak men who hold temporary power within it, fears the strong silence of the ambitious man. This isn't just about individual success anymore. This is about institutional control and power dynamics. Jung wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle not to be overwhelmed by the tribe. But the lazy, ambitious man is not struggling against the tribe. He is strategically ignoring its noise and refusing to perform for its approval. And that refusal is terrifying to anyone who profits from your compliance and predictable participation. Consider the foundation of our modern system. It depends on one crucial enforced belief. You spend decades in school to learn to follow instructions. You get a job where you must trade hours for currency. You buy products to signal status. You optimize your life to be more productive for what exactly? The lazy, ambitious man looks at this entire suffocating architecture of compliance and asks one simple, devastating question, delivered through his stillness. Why? And in his profound silence, the system realizes it has no good answer. He possesses ambitions without accompanying anxiety. He holds dreams without desperation. He has potent ideas without the immediate, desperate need to monetize or perform them. This makes him utterly unpredictable. Unpredictable people are highly dangerous to systems that depend entirely on predictability for their continued existence. But here is the deeper fear, the existential dread that keeps the controlling powers awake at night. What if the lazy, ambitious man is correct? What if ambition pursued without anxiety is actually more effective? What if dreams pursued from a place of inner peace and deep incubation are more likely to manifest than dreams pursued from panic and exhaustive effort? If that is true, then millions of people have been suffering for nothing. They have been sacrificing their mental health, their relationships, and their present happiness for a system that was never designed to serve them, but only to consume their energy. The strong silence of the lazy, ambitious man represents proof that there is another way, a superior path that does not require constant performance or endless, draining optimization. Jung observed, "Your vision becomes clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." The lazy, ambitious man is perpetually looking inside, and what he sees there, his own unique rhythm, his deep, unforced potential, does not match what society tells him he should want or how he should behave. He is awake while the majority is dreaming of conventional success. This gets intensely personal because Jung himself was the perfect historical example of what happens when society labels someone as lazy but undeniably ambitious. His own colleagues thought he was wasting his brilliant potential. The academic world called his methods too mystical, too soft and impractical. Society labeled him as undeniably brilliant, but entirely undisciplined. Jung spent years in what looked like profound, unproductive solitude, building an immense stone tower, meticulously exploring his own mind, developing revolutionary ideas that seemed to have no immediate practical application, and writing in massive unpublished private journals. Sound familiar? That is precisely what people say about the lazy, ambitious man today. But here is what Jung knew that his short-sighted critics did not. He had accepted something terrifying and absolute, that his mind operated under different principles, that his enduring contributions would emerge from inner exploration and patient processing, rather than external achievement and measurable output. And from that acceptance came insights that revolutionized the study of human psychology, the collective unconscious, personality archetypes, the shadow, the anima, and animus. All of these concepts that shape how we understand human nature today emerged from decades of what looked like academic laziness but was deep, patient, strategic, unconscious processing. This pattern is consistent among history's greatest contributors. They appeared lazy or unengaged to their contemporaries because they refused to participate in visible, measurable, short-term activity. Einstein called it combinatory play. Tesla called it mental experimentation. Jung called it active imagination. Society, demanding immediate metrics, called it laziness. The lazy, ambitious man today is following the same pattern of power conservation. He is waiting. He is not trying to force his dreams through traditional, inefficient, anxiety-ridden methods, because he intuitively understands that traditional methods will never work for the quality of creation he is striving for. He is waiting for the precise right moment, the essential insight, the perfect convergence of unseen circumstances that will allow his unconscious vision to manifest with minimal friction. And that patient, strategic waiting looks precisely like laziness to everyone else. Here is the truth that Jung understood, and that our demanding society is still frantically trying to avoid. The lazy, ambitious man isn't broken. He is evolved. The frantic, anxious rules you've been taught about ambition are designed to keep you trapped in the measurable. But perhaps you are starting to recognize yourself in this description. Perhaps you are wondering if you are one of these people society has tragically mislabeled. Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But becoming who you truly are requires a different kind of courage. The courage to embrace your unique, slow-burning rhythm. If you are a lazy, ambitious man, understanding these traits is the first step in claiming your power. The first sign is this: you have ideas that seem to come from nowhere. While others are researching, planning, and grinding through frameworks, complete, elegant solutions simply appear in your mind. You cannot explain their origin, but they feel true, whole, and revolutionary in a way that researched, forced ideas never do. The second sign: traditional productivity advice, the 5-minute routines, the aggressive scheduling, the optimization frameworks, makes you feel worse, not better. Every time you try to implement someone else's rigid external system, you feel like you are fighting a losing battle against your own nature, resulting in burnout. The third sign: your energy comes in profound waves that do not match the normal 9-to-5 schedules. You might be utterly useless and dormant at 9 a.m., but brilliantly catalytic at 11 p.m. You might require 3 days of apparent inactivity before 1 day of staggering, concentrated output. This is not laziness. That is your powerful unconscious mind following its own complex rhythm, not the clock of the system. Jung discovered that the creation of something new is accomplished not by the conscious intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. Your mind is playing while everyone else thinks you're wasting time. You are incubating while they are forcing. You are deep processing while they are frantically performing. But here is the most crucial realization. You have been conditioned to see these traits as weaknesses. You have been trying to fix yourself, to conform to the predictable, productive people around you. Jung would tell you to stop immediately. He would tell you that your different rhythm isn't a bug. It is a strategic feature. When you stop fighting your nature and start working with it, you gain access to genuine, sustainable ambition. Not the desperate, anxious ambition that drives people to burnout, but the calm, patient, inexorable ambition that comes from knowing exactly who you are and what you are truly capable of creating. This is why your dreams are so vast. When you are not exhausting yourself trying to be someone else, you conserve the profound energy required for visions that match your true potential. This is why your confidence often seems unearned to others. When you are not basing your self-worth on external validation or visible output, you are free to believe in possibilities others immediately dismiss as unrealistic. But accepting this truth about yourself and defending it against the noise of weak men, that is the hardest, most necessary part. Now comes the practical question of strategy. How do you live as a lazy, ambitious man, a man of strong silence, in a world that constantly demands performance and constant, visible productivity? Jung believed that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But once you accept your nature, you must adopt a strategy of defense. First, stop apologizing for your rhythm. Your energy patterns are not random. They are critical information. When you feel the intense urge to do nothing, that is not laziness calling. That is your unconscious mind demanding crucial processing time. Give it that time. Protect it fiercely. Defend it against people who want to fill every moment with their unnecessary activity. Second, learn to instantly recognize the difference between true rest and anxious avoidance. The lazy, ambitious man needs both, but they feel entirely different. True, strategic rest feels peaceful, necessary, like charging a battery for a monumental task. Avoidance feels anxious, guilty, like running from something you know you should face. When you are truly resting, revolutionary ideas come. When you are avoiding, nothing comes but more guilt and wasted energy. Third, develop what Machiavelli would call active patience, and Jung would call conscious preparation. This is not passive waiting. It is conscious preparation for the moment when your inspiration arrives. While your unconscious is synthesizing the breakthrough, your conscious mind can be strategically gathering resources, building peripheral skills, and creating the external conditions for the seamless manifestation of your vision when the lightning strikes. But here is the most important component. You must stop measuring yourself by other people's artificial timelines. Society wants everything yesterday. The productivity industry promises world-changing results in 90 days. Social media celebrates instant manufactured success. But Jung understood something deeper and more powerful. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That journey does not and cannot happen on a manufactured schedule. Your most important ambitions might take years to manifest. Your ideas might need time to mature in the fertile darkness of your mind. Your moment of maximum impact might not come until you are 40, 50, or 60. And that is not failure. That is mastery. Think about it. Every lazy, ambitious man in history was told he was wasting his potential. Jung himself did not publish his most important foundational work until he was in his 60s. His ideas seemed impractical for decades, but when his moment finally came, everything he had been quietly, patiently developing in solitude suddenly became profoundly relevant and indispensable. His apparent laziness turned out to be the ultimate preparation for contributions that have fundamentally outlasted all his frantically productive contemporaries. The pattern is repeated across history. The person everyone dismissed as lazy, silent, and unmotivated suddenly emerges with something so foundational, so disruptive, that it changes everything. Because while everyone else was optimizing their efficiency within a failing structure, he was optimizing his authenticity. While they were following other people's systems and seeking external approval, he was developing his own superior, internal understanding of power. While they were merely performing productivity, he was actually becoming someone worth being productive about. Here is the secret that nobody tells you about embracing the power of strong silence. Your moment will come, but it won't look or feel like anyone else's moment. I will say it again for clarity and conviction. Jung wrote, "Your vision becomes clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens." You have been looking inside while everyone else looks outside. You have been awakening while they've been dreaming of conventional system-sanctioned success. And that awakening grants you something productivity culture can never provide: the ability to dream without anxiety, to have ambition without desperation, and to create without forcing the outcome. But your moment will not announce itself with fanfare. It won't fit the manufactured hero's journey narrative that movies have taught us to expect. Instead, it will feel quiet, inevitable, like something that was always meant to happen the way it did. The circumstances will align perfectly. The timing will feel intrinsically right. The powerful idea that has been incubating in your silent mind will suddenly have a clear, frictionless path to manifestation. And when that moment comes, all the years of apparent laziness will reveal themselves as the necessary strategic preparation for maximum impact. Every day you spent doing nothing was actually your mind solving problems others couldn't even see existed. Every period of strategic rest was actually your unconscious making connections that conscious, forced effort would have catastrophically missed. Society fears the lazy, ambitious man because his strong silence represents a fundamentally different, and potentially superior, relationship with time, with success, and with the true nature of human potential itself. He proves that maybe the problem isn't the so-called lazy people who need motivation. Maybe the problem is a fear-based system that pathologizes natural human rhythms and desperately tries to force everyone into the same predictable, productive mold for the sake of control. If you are someone who has colossal dreams but struggles intensely with the limitations of traditional productivity, if you hold ambitions that seem disconnected from your visible actions, if you have been labeled as lazy, unmotivated, or impractical, despite having a mind full of seismic possibilities, Jung would recognize you instantly. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not failing at life. You are operating from a different, higher order part of human potential than the current noise-driven society is equipped to recognize or manage. The ultimate question isn't whether you will achieve your ambitions. The critical, life-changing question is whether you will have the courage to trust your own silent, patient process long enough to let them inevitably emerge. Because Jung was absolutely right. Your vision becomes clear only when you look into your heart. And sometimes the most ambitious, most powerful thing you can do is trust what you see there, even when the rest of the world can't see it yet. The lazy, ambitious man isn't society's problem. He is society's possibility, the agent of change that arrives with inevitable force. And that quiet, unstoppable potential is exactly why the weak men fear him. If this revelation made you see yourself, your rhythm, or your concept of power differently, let me know. I need you to commit to this shift in mindset right now. In the comments, state the principle you are adopting. My silence is my power. Write that phrase below and claim your strategic stillness. We honor the commitment and the courage it takes to break free from the noise. Subscribe right now and activate the notification bell, joining the ranks of those who understand that true power is conserved, not flaunted. The systems of control are breaking down, and in our next session, we are going deeper into the pure Machiavellian strategy of strong silence, revealing the art of non-reaction, the precise mechanisms you must employ when weak men attempt to provoke you into giving up your advantage. You cannot afford to miss the next strategy session. What if I told you that the silence that unnerves you is not emptiness but highly distilled power? That the man who says the least is not the one holding back, but the one calculating the exact moment his words will shatter your entire perception of reality. We began this journey by looking at the lazy, ambitious man, that figure who refuses the chaotic dance of modern productivity. We saw how Carl Jung understood that this apparent laziness is actually a deep, internal processing, a necessary incubation for revolutionary thought. But we must now pivot, because that internal silence, once matured, is weaponized. It ceases to be mere incubation and becomes a calculated strategy of dominance. This is where the psychological understanding of Jung collides violently with the raw, unforgiving architecture of power as mapped by Machiavelli. Before we delve into the strategy of strong silence and exactly how it makes weak men crumble, tell me this. What city are you watching from right now? Look around your city. See the constant movement, the incessant noise. That is the backdrop against which true power operates. Hold that image of the constant scramble, because the silence we are discussing is the deliberate refusal to participate in the scramble, and that refusal is the first strategic strike. The weak man judges the ambitious silence because he confuses motion with meaning. He believes productivity is a shield against worthlessness. He operates under the delusion that if he is not constantly seen, heard, and measured, he ceases to exist. His actions are not driven by necessity but by the desperate need for external validation. He posts his achievements, he brags about his schedule. He fills every moment with noise because the silence, for him, is the grave of his ego. Now consider the ambitious man who has embraced his inner rhythm. He has moved past the performance of busyness. His quietness is no longer accidental. It has become conscious. This is the moment when Jungian introspection transforms into Machiavellian armor. His silence is not the absence of thought. It is the presence of perfect control. He has realized that the modern world functions through distraction and predictable reaction. To be silent, to refuse the immediate engagement, is to seize the strategic high ground. It is the tactical decision to let the enemy expend their ammunition on nothing but air. Machiavelli, writing centuries ago about the conduct of a prince, was obsessed with the management of appearance and the preservation of reputation. He understood that a leader who is verbose, who constantly explains or justifies himself, swiftly loses his aura of authority. Why? Because explanation implies a need for approval and justification signals doubt. Strong silence rejects both. When the ambitious man, the one society labels lazy, remains silent, he forces others to project their anxieties onto him. They try to fill the void he creates with assumptions, accusations, and most importantly, with predictions of his failure. But the silent man offers no purchase. He provides no evidence for their claims, no soundbite for their gossip, no reaction for their drama. This inscrutability is paralyzing. The weak man needs certainty. He needs to categorize and control his environment. The silent man refuses to be categorized, becoming an unpredictable variable in a system built on linear predictability. This is the psychological terror of strong silence. It renders the weak man's primary tool, judgment, useless. The weak man relies on knowing the rules of the game so he can optimize his performance within them. But the silent man is playing a game the weak man cannot even perceive, let alone define. And since the weak man cannot define it, he cannot control it, and therefore he fears it above all else. His fear is not of the silent man's eventual success, but of the silent man's current freedom, the freedom from the crushing burden of constant self-justification. The genius of Machiavelli's philosophy, when applied to this context, is that power is often about what you don't do. The prince who acts only when necessary, who speaks only when his words carry the weight of immediate consequence, commands authority far beyond the prince who rushes into every skirmish. Silence creates space. In that space, two things happen simultaneously. First, the ambitious man refines his strategy without interference, allowing the deep, unconscious processing to manifest into concrete steps. Second, everyone else rushes in to fill that space with their own desperate noise, revealing their hand, their weaknesses, and their intentions. Consider a meeting where an overwhelming problem is presented. The weak men immediately start suggesting frantic, half-baked solutions. They are performing competence, trying to prove their utility, trying to avoid the shame of silence. They create noise. The silent man, however, listens. He does not nod. He does not interrupt. He does not offer premature assurances. His silence acts like a vacuum, sucking the energy out of the chaotic rush. When he finally speaks, after the noise has subsided and the exhausted debaters have revealed all their flawed assumptions, his one observation, distilled by patience and inner processing, is surgically precise. His single sentence has more impact than the weak men's hours of rambling. This is the power derived from active patience, a state we incorrectly label as laziness. The weak man sees this strategic pause and labels it arrogance or disinterest. He cannot fathom that the delay is intentional, designed to maximize impact. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. A prince must always take counsel, but only when he wishes, not when others wish. The lazy, ambitious man, by refusing the schedule of mandatory participation, is essentially applying this Machiavellian rule to his personal output. He takes counsel with his own unconscious mind on his timeline, not the tribe's. This strategic refusal to engage is the ultimate form of independence. Our society conditions us to be dependent. Dependent on our calendars, dependent on our employers, dependent on social feedback loops. The currency of the weak is validation. The silent man, however, is generating internal validation, creating a resource the system cannot touch. He is not participating in the trade of hours for money or effort for praise. He is generating value from a source inaccessible to external metrics. And this is what makes him a threat to the entire apparatus of compliant labor. If the silent man succeeds, and history shows he often does, look at Jung, look at Einstein, look at any revolutionary who spent years in apparent solitude, it proves that the established method of relentless, measurable, visible work is fundamentally flawed, or worse, deliberately designed to keep the majority perpetually busy and subservient. The weak man fears strong silence because it is a mirror. When faced with the calm, unreactive presence of the ambitious man, the weak man sees the reflection of his own exhausting servitude. He sees all the hours he sacrificed, all the genuine thoughts he suppressed, all the joy he postponed for the sake of the performance of productivity. And the terrifying realization is this: the silent man achieved the same ambition, or greater, without the suffering. The silence proves that the suffering was unnecessary, and the weak man's lifetime of hustle becomes exposed as a self-imposed prison. We must understand that this is not just about avoiding guilt. This is about achieving total psychological independence, which Machiavelli would recognize as the cornerstone of sovereignty. A true prince is sovereign over his emotions, his time, and his reactions. He is never hurried, never flustered, never predictable. The lazy, ambitious man embodies this modern sovereignty. His quiet demeanor signals that his internal world is vast and more consequential than the external drama unfolding around him. He is not fighting the tribe. He has transcended the tribe's rules entirely. To truly master this power, one must move beyond merely accepting the internal rhythm, as Jung suggested, and begin deploying it, as Machiavelli would demand. This is the difference between passive self-acceptance and active strategic deployment. The lazy, ambitious man learns to use his unhurried pace not just for processing, but to dictate the tempo of his interactions. When a competitor is rushing, the silent man slows down, forcing the competitor to wait, to doubt, to overcommit. When others demand answers, the silent man delays, leveraging the cognitive bias that attributes depth and weight to withheld information. The weak men rush to fill the silence with gossip, with speculation, and with demands for explanation. They seek to pull the silent man down into the fray, where they feel comfortable. But the strategic silence acts as an invisible force field. It communicates a non-negotiable message. My time and my attention are resources that must be earned. This shift from passive acceptance to active strategy marks the transformation from a misunderstood dreamer into a quietly formidable power player. He is no longer just working differently. He is working to undermine the system of noise that sustains the less ambitious. He has realized that in a world of constant communication, silence is the ultimate interruption. In an economy built on rapid response, the delayed, distilled insight is the most valuable commodity. The path to embracing this strong silence requires immense courage, the courage to stand apart and to trust that inner processing over external demands. It means enduring the initial judgment of the frantic crowd, who will inevitably label you as lazy or worse, irrelevant. But the ambitious man knows that relevance is not earned by constant presence, but by decisive, impactful arrival. He is waiting for his moment, and his waiting is the most potent form of action. We are standing on the precipice of understanding how Machiavellian strategy manifests in modern psychological freedom. We have seen how the internal rhythm of the Jungian individual becomes the external power of the unreadable prince. This quiet strength is not passive. It is an act of defiance against the tyranny of noise. The truth is becoming undeniable, and it demands action. You recognize the power of this revelation and the freedom it offers. You are committing right now to integrate this strong silence into your own life. So, I am asking you to prove this commitment immediately. In the comments below, claim your new understanding by writing this single phrase: "My silence is my strategy." Do this right now. It is a declaration, not a suggestion. The commitment you just made is a promise to yourself. To solidify this shift, you must join this community of those who refuse to play the weak man's game. This insight is not something the mainstream will ever teach you. Subscribe immediately, ensure that notification bell is rung, and like this video, because you know this content is changing your perception of power. We have begun to map the terrain, moving from the psychological root of ambition to the strategic application of silence. But the journey is not complete. In the next part, we must dissect the ultimate fear. Why the weakest men, those who desperately need the noise to survive, will always attempt to shatter your silence, and the specific Machiavellian defenses you must employ to remain absolutely impenetrable. We will look at how the strong utilize strategic ambiguity and the power of the unspoken threat to maintain their quiet sovereignty. You will not want to miss the final strategy that ensures your silent ambition manifests into irreversible power. Now we arrive at the definitive conclusion, the final synthesis of Carl Jung's most terrifying insight. We have established that the lazy, ambitious man is not suffering from a lack of drive, but is instead operating on a profoundly different psychic rhythm, a rhythm that utilizes the creative supremacy of the unconscious mind. But the real consequence of this realization is not merely personal success. It is a seismic threat to the structure of modern power itself. This is the moment where the concept of the lazy, ambitious man transforms from a psychological anomaly into a revolutionary archetype. Weak men fear strong silence. This is the core truth Machiavelli understood about power, and it is the key to why the system fears the man who refuses to perform busyness. The system, the vast apparatus of modern economic and social compliance, thrives on one thing: measurable, predictable anxiety. It requires you to believe that if you stop moving, if you stop optimizing, if you stop sacrificing your present peace for a future outcome, you will immediately lose relevance and fail. This relentless performance of productivity is the invisible chain that binds the modern populace. The lazy, ambitious man, by his very existence, snaps this chain. His strong silence is not emptiness. It is the sound of deep processing of internal sovereignty. He demonstrates that ambition does not necessitate anxiety. He proves that profound creativity cannot be scheduled or quantified. And because he cannot be controlled by the conventional levers of guilt, shame, and urgency, he becomes the most dangerous figure in the room. Consider the nature of his success. When it finally manifests, it rarely comes through a gradual climb up a pre-approved ladder. Instead, it appears as an abrupt, almost inevitable manifestation, a sudden industry-shifting idea or a novel creation that seems to have materialized out of nowhere. This instantaneous emergence, following years of apparent inactivity, is terrifying to the conventional mind because it negates the necessity of their painful, predictable suffering. It suggests that the path to mastery might be one of profound internal reflection, not external exhaustion. The weak man, the one trapped in the cycle of performative busywork, needs validation. He needs the noise of the office, the check marks on the to-do list, the frantic pace to prove his worth. When he encounters the silent, ambitious man, he sees the mirror image of everything he sacrifices, and he sees that his sacrifice may have been utterly unnecessary. The lazy, ambitious man holds the ultimate silent accusation. You ran the race because you were told to, not because the finish line required it. Jung called the state of the lazy, ambitious man active patience, and it is the pinnacle of conscious psychological maturity. Active patience is not simply waiting for things to happen. It is the deliberate cultivation of the inner landscape, while simultaneously gathering the external tools required for the inevitable moment of creation. While the conventional worker is spending 80% of his energy on superficial tasks, answering emails instantly, attending meetings that drain, engaging in the visible hustle, the lazy, ambitious man reserves that energy. He conserves his psychic fuel for the moment of profound insight. His quiet time is spent reading across disciplines, making connections between seemingly unrelated fields, and, most crucially, allowing the alchemical process of the unconscious to unfold. He understands that genuine breakthroughs, the kind that change industries and history, are not generated by brute force concentration. They are born from a state of receptive play, a psychological readiness that is impossible to achieve while stressed and overworked. If you are resonating deeply with this understanding, if you feel this shift happening within your own mind, you are recognizing the universal pattern of true creative power. And as this realization dawns, I must ask, from what city are you tuning into this crucial awakening? Where in the world is this powerful, silent ambition taking root? The recognition that we are not alone in this unconventional path is itself a form of strength, dissolving the isolation that society uses to keep unique minds compliant. Let us return to the practical challenge of living as the lazy, ambitious man in a world obsessed with quantifiable outputs. Acceptance of this nature is not a one-time event. It is a continuous, assertive declaration of independence. You must learn to ruthlessly defend your periods of apparent idleness. These are not periods of downtime. They are periods of high-intensity, subconscious work. The first strategy for the lazy, ambitious man is the sacred defense of the void. This means recognizing that the pressure to be busy is an external projection designed to normalize mediocrity. You must treat your unscheduled time, your periods of walking, staring, or reading for pure pleasure, as non-negotiable professional obligations. When others demand your immediate attention, your reply must communicate a quiet, self-assured boundary. My process requires this space. This defense is inherently Machiavellian, as it establishes your time and focus as resources of supreme value, scarce and therefore powerful. The second strategy is Discerning the creative impulse from the escape impulse. As the lazy, ambitious man, you must be brutally honest about the difference between true active patience, the quiet internal work, and sloth, the anxious avoidance of necessary engagement. Active patience feels centered, charged with potential, often leading to sudden, sharp clarity. Sloth feels dull, guilty, and results only in further paralysis. The goal is not to be passively lazy, but to be strategically inactive until the precise moment the unconscious delivers the fully formed vision. The third strategy involves the calibration of the unexpected sprint. The lazy, ambitious man often moves in sudden high-intensity bursts. Because the work has been incubating in the deep subconscious, when the moment strikes, the action required is often incredibly efficient and highly focused. When the inspiration hits, the fully formed algorithm, the perfect phrase, the revolutionary structure, you must be prepared to drop everything and work with explosive focus until the vision is externalized. This is the payoff for the long periods of waiting. Your output is defined by quality and intensity, not by duration or frequency. Jung's entire life was the performance of this strategy. His decades of intense internal work, which appeared to his contemporaries as a retreat from relevance, were merely the necessary incubation period for ideas that would define the next century of thought. He accepted that mastery operates on a geological timescale, not a quarterly earnings report. His great contributions did not manifest when the world demanded them, but when they were ready. This truth must liberate you from the tyranny of the clock and the anxiety of the perceived timeline. Society demands instant gratification. The truly ambitious mind demands ultimate mastery, regardless of the time elapsed. Your journey, your unique vision, may require 5 years of quiet reading followed by 6 months of intense, transformative creation. If you try to force that 5 years of quiet into 5 years of forced daily output, you will not only fail to produce the breakthrough, you will extinguish the inner fire that generates it. The lazy, ambitious man represents the highest potential of human consciousness, precisely because he refuses to submit his internal rhythm to external metrics. He is not trying to fix himself to fit a broken system. He is trusting his unique, evolutionary advantage. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And for the lazy, ambitious man, becoming who he truly is means accepting that his greatest work is done in the silence others fear, in the stillness others mistake for failure. This realization is the ultimate awakening. You are not meant to run the conventional race. You are meant to observe it, internalize its failures, and then quietly, suddenly, build the alternative structure that renders the old race obsolete. Your unconventional path is not a flaw. It is the source of your genius. Now, we must seal this understanding. This entire realization boils down to a single assertive statement of internal power, a mantra that dispels the fear and the guilt of the productivity cult. I want you to join this collective awakening by declaring your freedom in the comments below. Craft one powerful affirmative sentence, a phrase that captures the essence of trusting your inner rhythm and rejecting the pressure to perform busyness. Let the world see your commitment to the path of active patience. What is the phrase that will define your non-linear ambition? Share it now. This channel is dedicated to revealing the psychological mechanisms of power and success that society desperately tries to hide from you. If you understand that true mastery requires stepping off the treadmill of external validation and embracing the terrifying freedom of your own mind, then you realize this content is not merely interesting. It is necessary for your evolution. Your continued learning is a revolutionary act. Therefore, solidify your commitment by hitting the subscribe button, ensuring you receive the ongoing strategies for intellectual and personal sovereignty. Like this video, allowing these ideas to reach others who are silently struggling to reconcile their massive ambition with their rejection of the hustle culture. And know this, while the masses are focused on optimizing their daily schedule, we are preparing to uncover another fundamental truth about human nature, a secret that explains why some individuals effortlessly attract success while others endlessly strive. Prepare yourself because our next exploration will reveal the hidden architecture of personal magnetism and the profound psychological tool that elite performers use to generate outcomes that seem impossible to the striving mind. Do not miss what comes next.